Oh,
All right, guys, we'll go ahead and get started. Everybody wants to come in the barn.
Don't fall on
Hey,
through the
hey,
stage. I love you. Like, no, you won't fall through it. I immediately fell through. Like, no, you little.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to Book Club. I'm glad to see a lot of people returning. And I hope you guys had a chance to check out our new books and maybe noticed there was a theme today. Surprise. Okay, so how'd you guys like Armada?
I liked it a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some emojis over in the back. So we'll kind of follow the same platform we did last time. So we'll go over some stuff, specifically to Armada and do some discussion there. Again, since it was a VR book, that gives us some cool things to kind of relate to as we're doing our book club in VR. So that's going to be fun. And then we'll go over our book selections for next time. Cool things to kind of relate to. I know that we've been doing a book every 2 weeks, which for some people might be kind of a tight squeeze. I want to get a vote from you guys. Do you want to do the book every 2 weeks, or do you want to do one book a month, but with a meetup halfway through the book to discuss? So if you want to do the entire book in 2 weeks, go ahead and give me a couple of emojis. Okay, if you want to split the book up over a month and do 2 meetups for the book, go ahead and give me some emojis. All right, so that's what we're going to do. So for the next book that we select, we'll go ahead and we'll read the first half. We'll come back and we'll discuss the first half. So no cheaters, nobody read ahead. We'll discuss the first half, and then we can go ahead that way and maybe open up another discussion as to what we think is going to happen, how we're liking it so far, and then we'll be able to go from there. This way I'll give everybody a little bit more time to read. Stevie, do you have a question?
Yeah. Is it considered cheating if someone has read the book before?
No. A good question.
Heck yeah.
So we'll go ahead, we'll get started, guys. So Armada, of course, was Ernest Cline's other best-selling book. How many of you guys did the audio, the Audible book? Got one over here, one over here, one over here. Okay. I know I mentioned when we were selecting books last week that I liked Will Wheaton better as Armada, doing the Armada versus Ready Player One. What do you guys think of his Audible version of the story? Yeah, I got some hearts. So I think Will Wheaton did amazing. He got accents, he got excited, he shouted, he changed his voice, and he did some of that in Ready Player One, but not nearly as much as he did in Armada, and I thought that was really, really cool. So that's awesome. Do you guys have any thoughts on that at all before we move on to our next discussion point? God, you guys are so quiet today.
I love that Will Wheaton did a really good job in Armada, and I totally agree. He did. I wish he had read almost with that much passion for Ready Player One, because Ready Player One I thought was overall a better story, but I think for what Armada was, it was great. I mean, you can only work with the plot you got.
Exactly.
So, I thought the story was pretty good for an alien invasion story of that type.
Yeah, for me it was intense, so intense and emotional. I mean, I'm already a sad gamer dad, but I was extra sad by the last part of it rolled around.
Yeah, it was definitely a bit emotional at the end. I do feel as though the book needed Will Wheaton to read it better, just because some of the story portions of the story weren't quite 100% there for me. But we'll get to that, as we're going through. So Wade Watts in Ready Player One, everybody loved Wade, right? Wade was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
In comparison to Zach, what do you guys think? What do you guys think of Zach as a character versus Wade Watts?
Well, Zach was definitely had that whole rage problem, which, obviously, and they never really, I mean, I don't know, they never really, it went to a point and then it kind of like, they kind of briefly mentioned, but I don't know, they never, like, after like the second incident, they kind of like briefly mentioned it, but then he never really had like a rage problem anymore, probably due to them and his whole dad thing coming back, but.
Yeah, he was kind of hung up on his dad.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand. Yeah. But he was definitely a little bit hung up. I didn't find him quite as personable as Wade. I feel like we got to know Wade a little bit better, and we got to know Zach. Anybody else have any additional thoughts on Zach? Don't be afraid to speak up, guys.
Unless you have your father leave you when you're young, you don't know what that's like. My dad left me when I was young, and it affected me quite a while.
So yeah, that's definitely something I haven't experienced, so perhaps it wasn't quite as relatable for me, but certainly is something that I think a lot of people probably could relate to, is not having, their father figure there. And it was nice that he had all those mementos of his father to kind of, live like his father lived a little bit, get to know him, even though he really didn't get to remember much about him.
Yep.
Cool. Well, thank you. Okay. So as far as we know this was science fiction and, alien invasions, et cetera, et cetera. Do you think that, aside from the alien invasion part of it, that some of the story contents were realistic from a humanity perspective?
Yes, I think I kind of saw the foreshadowing. I think he kind of foreshadowed quite a bit. I saw the end, I kind of like, I don't want to be that guy, but like, I kind of figured it out like they're a third of the way through what the author was trying to foreshadow, and I was like, I still very much enjoyed it though.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think humans would see that before the military thing on a personal level, especially as this, at least in the United States, I can't really speak for many other countries, but we're becoming very used to like new sciences and new ideas coming through all the time, and we've discovered so much in the last 20 years. Then, I think us as human race would see what they were trying to do. Maybe not in the 70s though. I don't know,
Well, I mean, there's a couple of things that strike me as kind of odd about the way some of the storylines went. So, for example, Zach makes a colossal mistake, right? Mm-hmm. It results in losing a bunch of their drones, and he didn't listen to what he was told to do. And it was kind of like, you did bad. Here's your slap on the wrist. Now go to the moon. For me, I don't know if that is something that kind of rings. You know what I mean? It's like you cost, I don't know how much money those drones were worth. You disobeyed orders, but there really wasn't much of a repercussion, I guess, for Zach when he did that.
Yeah, I think they were like, because he never went to basic training. I mean, like if you want to call it their basic training is their gaming world where there's no consequences. Any player, there's no risk. Like us, we can jump right through the stage, no big deal, but you start mixing the reality with, I don't know, he definitely wasn't trained, and you can't like expect somebody to sign that type of a military contract under the duress of your life being in danger and call it valid,
That's a good point.
Yeah,
so
I'm
these really
thinking when I served, it was a big deal. Everything was explained to me. I had time to think it over. This poor kid's in life or death situation. They're like, "Oh, sign this contract," like it's gonna mean anything,
I just feel so bad.
Yeah, I mean, they were playing a video game, and if you screwed up, what happened? You lost your drone. You had to start over again. So as far as training, they kind of trained them to be able to properly use the joystick, or maybe some ways that they can kind of win a specific quest or whatever they were doing, but not really. Nothing bad ever happened. So
they weren't soldiers. They were just kids.
He was relating that to the game, so that's definitely something. And plus, he was a high school kid. I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah, and his dad was the general, and they needed him. They know they needed him, so.
All right. What do you think about the stereotype flip? So usually when there's some super science-y, fiction-y stuff happening and stuff's blowing up, and there's usually this big tough guy and he's doing all this stuff and there's lots of action. And this was like, a high school gaming nerd that, and it was kind of like Revenge of the Nerds, all these gamers who are doing all their gaming things. Let's come save the world from the alien invasion. It's kind of a flip from what we normally see. Especially like on TV, where you've kind of got like the hero who's, saving the world that way. So I thought that was really cool because, I'm a gamer, so I'm a nerd. So, I was like, yeah, we can totally save the world from an alien invasion. Gaming pays off, you know what I mean? Does anybody have any thoughts on that at all?
We can't all be Arnold, so we just have to be what we are and help the best we can. Arnold, I'll be back.
Even Milo in the book talked about how, like, this is a gamer's dream come true, even though people were dying all around him and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, I thought that was kind of cool. These, kids who, they just play video games and now they have a chance to put their video game nerddom to good use. And I thought that was really cool how you kind of flipped that. I have a feeling Ernest Cline's a little bit of a nerd himself.
Oh, dang well he is a nerd. Especially with all those 80s gaming references.
Yes, there's definitely a lot of pop culture references.
What if Microsoft is secretly testing us right now?
Yeah, seeing how we'll do.
Robot invasion.
Dude. I once heard, like, this is unsourced, of course, but I once heard that they took like a bunch of video gamers and they like gave them Xbox controllers and let them fly in a drone simulation, and they were like smoking like the trained military guys.
I don't doubt it.
I don't know if that's accurate. Like I said, I can't source it. I remember hearing that somewhere. I wonder if that's actually true.
I mean, like for example, I'm a World of Warcraft player. So I mean, if there was some, big giant monster dude that I had to kill, I'd be like, all right, strategy, we're gonna do this because he does this. Like, I would know how to arrange a proper strategy based around that. And that's something that the gamers get out of that too, is there's this big evil guy, he does this, and this. I have to counteract that somehow. Versus the military who's like, all right, blow this shit up.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, we used to play EverQuest with like 200 characters all organized perfect timing with just a mouse and keyboard. We didn't even have VoIP at the time. We were just chatting over, typing everything. It was nuts.
Which
the stuff
is the
that
worst.
Gamers can do. Yeah, I know. And I can't believe that we had to do that. But, this was the early 2000s and stuff. But the stuff that gamers can do is very impressive because they put a lot of brain energy into what they're doing,
Yeah, is anybody else, other than, kind of the social virtual reality thing, is anybody else into like gaming, MMOs, anything like that, where you've kind of had an experience like Zach had in a video game that you played continuously? Any emojis for any gamers? I'm one. There, we got one over there. So, we kind of think a little bit differently than maybe some other people would, because it was just something we've been doing for a long time. All right, so during the story, and this perhaps might have just been lost on me personally, there was references to Zach, something happening, and Zach going, this seems so familiar. This seems so familiar.
That's the foreshadowing I was telling you.
And then I'm like, then I got to the end of the book and I'm like, I don't really know how any of that was familiar. You know what I mean? I feel like
well, they were
saying,
I think they were foreshadowing. It was saying like, he's like, these drones, they all fly the same in real life and in the game. He's like, how is that possible? How, and he referenced that like several times. How did they get it so perfect? Blah, blah, blah. It seems like I'm still playing the game, there's no way, you know, that these drone pilots, these aliens would fly exactly like the game. And what, you know, and then I think what they were getting at, and this is a spoiler if anybody doesn't want to hear, but in the end, you know, the AI was actually running all those drones. So they just figured out the AI's pattern, you know, and then it, you know, so it wasn't so much like the aliens were strangely acting like a computer. It was a computer acting like a computer. And that's what it was like foreshadowed that like 50 times. No, you're absolutely right. And that's kind of was like, oh, I get it. You know, this is some sort of like educational lesson we're supposed to be learning, you know? Like, I don't know.
See, I didn't quite, like, I got, you know, the whole, like, this is a test thing, you know, kind of when the dad started explaining about, you know, how they think their, you know, humanity's being tested. But I was still honestly very surprised at the ending. So let's go ahead and jump to the ending, because the sodality, I'm not sure if I'm down with the end. I really not.
No, I agree. I think this book could use a sequel.
Yeah, I feel like there's more there than, you know, a big giant ball comes out and says, it was just a test, JK.
Yeah.
Which is kind of how I feel it ended. You know what I mean? It was a little bit disappointing. I kind of wanted there to be an alien.
Yeah.
And not just a ball.
Me too. I was hoping for some engagement of some kind to an actual biological species, not a flipping giant supercomputer.
Yeah, basically that's what it was. And where did the supercomputer come from? I know that they're like kind of have an alliance with other beings, which we don't know who those beings are. Where did the actual computer come from? And why was it inside of a planet? Well, a moon, technically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I kind of feel like we could have used more backstory on the sodality, because I kind of wasn't really expecting a giant ball.
That's exactly right. Yeah, like when he was, even at the end when he said, you know, I still don't buy it. You know, he's like, this still doesn't feel right. You know, when he was like quoting his father. That's what I'm thinking. Like this book could totally have a sequel. You know, running around like the sodality and what their plan is, or if they've got nefarious plans, or if they're just honest and this is the way it has to be. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it would. I don't know. Would it ruin it if there was like I don't know, some sort of evil plot?
So there was like, you know, where this is a test, you pass the test. You should probably join this sodality so that we don't kill you. And in return, we're going to cure cancer and make life great. So, I don't know. The ending fell short for me. I definitely think that there's a little bit more that's needed there.
I think that's why Ready Player One was quite a bit better, I thought. But, you know, Armada was, I definitely enjoyed it. It's just, you know, it's just in the shadow of Ready Player One being like 2 or 3 times as big. And, you know, this, you know, a big, huge story. You know, Armada was solid. You know, I don't know. But I definitely see why people compare it a lot, like, not as good as Ready Player One. But it feels very similar. Maybe it's just because Will Wheaton was reading it, you know? And then the author was, you know, the author, Ernest talks about 80s pop references and music.
Music a lot, yeah.
Music, games, and, you know, movies. Very similar feel to Ready Player One in that sense, and then you got Will Wheaton reading it again, so you feel that too. So,
yeah, so there's kind of a like, we're back with Will Wheaton. That's kind of what I was like, Will Wheaton, we're back. And then he was, you know, the accents and all that.
I didn't know
I didn't know that either. And I'm like, wow, he's actually a really good voice actor. Who knew? He did a fantastic job reading those characters. I thought it was excellent. Also, there was some really good emotional points though.
Way more so in this book than Ready Player One.
Yeah, like when they're ready to evacuate, and then the two stay behind to make sure that they can get out safely, and you're like, no, they're so dead. And then, you know, the father, oh, why? I feel so bad for Zach because he's like, my father's dead. My father's alive. Never mind, he's dead a day later. I feel terrible that he'd have to go through that.
At least he got those letters and the kind of the diary basically of so he could read. He got a lot from even though it was only like a couple of days. Pretty sad though. Way more emotional than Ready Player One though.
Yeah, I actually got tears a little bit when I was like, no,
I bawled like a baby during the reuniting of the father and son, and the reuniting of the father to the wife. Yeah, I lost it because that was me. I grew up in that time frame, and I lost my dad when I was 19, and I just related to the teenager of Zach, and then I related now as a dad to the father in that situation. So I related to both of them.
Yeah,
I teared up for sure a couple times. I mean, it was solid.
Yeah, and he did a good job of portraying the emotion. It wasn't like, just kind of giving us the words. He portrayed it very well, with the way that the characters felt. I really liked how Zach was really conflicted upon finally seeing his dad. Like, I'm really pissed off at you, but I love you, but I'm really pissed off at you, but I'm so excited to see you. Because I feel that was really realistic. I feel like if I was in that position, it'd be the same exact thing. Like, why did you do this to me? But oh my God, you're here. So kind of a mix of emotions there.
And that's totally real. I mean, you want to be pissed. I mean, like, how many times have you wanted to be pissed at somebody you really care about, and 5 minutes later you're like, I just can't be pissed off at you anymore.
Yeah.
Especially when it's your dad and he's like doing this legit thing. He's got a legitimate excuse. As much as you want to be pissed off for totally legit reasons, you just got to get over it. Because it's your dad,
Yeah, like, it's your dad. Like, this guy that you've idolized your entire life but don't really remember is now standing in front of you. And, that's definitely a crazy thing to have to go through for sure. Let's see, what else do I got here? I dropped my note cards all over the floor, so don't mind me while I bend over to get them.
I'm going.
All right, let's see.
Shannon.
Yes.
Could I just say one thing?
Yes.
Right, guys. I'm going to be stopping in on Alt Space from 9:30 tonight, which one was on from, till 9:30 in the morning. And now this is for cancer research from all over the world. So if you can donate whatever you can to my page, and I'll share it on Facebook after this charity is done, right? Be fantastic.
Thanks, Claire, for doing
That's
that.
possible. Yeah, that's what I'm doing tonight.
All right, so does anyone have any other discussion points they want to bring up about Armada at all? Before we move on to what I think everybody else is waiting for us to go ahead and do?
I'm so sorry.
It happens, man.
I'm so sorry.
Yes, I would honestly like to see a lot more from Ernest Cline. I'd like to see him maybe get away from quite as many pop culture references. But if he could stick with the whole sci-fi VR gaming thing, I would totally read whatever he wrote. So I think that's kind of a good takeaway. It's like to keep an eye out, if he's going to write any more books, I want to read them.
And
so
Will Wheaton needs the work. Let's get real.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
What we'll do then is we'll go ahead and go over our books. So if everybody wants to come in so we can vote for our next book, that'd be great.
It's pretty quiet. You'll be good. You can do it. Man, no, I don't think so. I wanted to make sure it was.
I'm just bringing up my notes on the book, so give me a moment.
I'm going to go get them, okay?
Thanks, Megan.
They're gonna pick the next book. They're gonna pick the next book. What's up, girl? Hey, get in the cabin. They're gonna pick the next book. What's up, Lauren? They're gonna pick the next book, guys. Get in the cabin. They're gonna pick the next book. Megan. Yeah, get in the cabin. They're gonna pick the next book.
Bindaloo.
It's a corn.
It's more of a barn. The hay bales, definitely.
It depends on if you sleep in it or not.
I don't know
If you're not sleeping in
anything
it, it's a
about
barn.
these.
If you're sleeping in it, it's a cabin.
I've never
What's
heard of
Gretel?
anything.
What's Gretel?
Jack, get in the cabin.
All right, so I'm gonna start over on this side. So the first, there we go. The first selection we have is called Afraid. So before I go, if you guys don't notice, these are kind of all, spooky, scary titles. It's October, Halloween. What better time to read a horror story? So I got a couple different types of horror ones. And so they don't have to go over each one individually. Every single one of these books is, if you subscribe to Kindle Unlimited, which I do, they're all free for Kindle Unlimited. So you don't have to pay for the book. They are all also available paperback, Kindle version for like a couple bucks if you don't have Kindle Unlimited, which by the way is totally worth. And they're all available in an Audible format. So you can read them any way that you want to read them. Which is good. That way you guys don't have to limit your choice selection based on what format are available on them. So that's good. Let me go ahead and get my first book. So the first one is called Afraid, and it's dubbed a novel of terror. And it's by J.A. Conrath. So I'm going to do the same thing that I do normally, is I'm going to go ahead and read the Amazon description, because I think that they're still the best ones. Excuse me. All right. So it says, welcome to Safe Haven, population 907. So nestled in the woods of Wisconsin, Safe Haven is miles from everything. With one road in and one road out, this is a town so peaceful it has never needed a full-time police force. Until now. A helicopter has crashed on the outskirts of the town, and something terrible has been unleashed. A classified secret weapon programmed to kill anything that stands in its way. Now it's headed to the nearest lights to do what it does best: isolate, terrorize, and annihilate. Soon, all phone lines are dead and the road is blocked. Safe Haven's only chance for survival rests on the shoulders of an aging county sheriff. And as the body count rises, the sheriff realizes something even more terrifying, maybe death, hasn't come to his little town by accident. And it says, welcome to Safe Haven, population 907, 906, 905.
Oh,
Creepy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I think a little bit more of like a science fiction-y kind of horror story.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it does. Let's see.
Like you grew up in the hood. That's what happens in the hood.
Was that Star Child? That was Star Child, wasn't it? Yeah, it was.
My bad.
That's all right, Star Child. Hi. All right.
Sounds like it was on the guy who did all this.
All right, so the next one, if my hand wants to work. And my hand is not. I give up. Okay. The next one is The Haunting of Ashburn House.
Okay.
It is by Darcy Coates. And excuse me, I need some water because my throat is dry.
It's some Kool-Aid.
Release
Too
her.
much. It's okay. I'm used to it. All right.
Release her.
So, the description for this one: people whisper rumors about a family murdered at Ashburn House. They say its old owner, Edith, went mad in the building and that restless ghosts walk the halls at night. When Adrian arrives on the Gothic house's doorstep, all she has is a suitcase, $20, and her pet cat. She doesn't know why her estranged Aunt Edith bequeathed Ashburn to her, but it's a lifeline she can't afford to refuse.
And it's for cancer research.
Okay, here's somebody's mic.
Adrian doesn't believe in ghosts, but it's hard to rationalize what she sees. Strange messages have been etched into the wallpaper. Furniture moves when she leaves the room, and a grave hidden in the forest hints at a terrible, unforgivable secret. Something twisted and evil lives in her house, and Adrian must race to unravel the decade-old mystery before she becomes Ashburn's latest victim. This is kind of a little bit more of your ghost story, horror, which I personally love ghost stories because they scare the crap out of me.
Which one's going to give me the least nightmares?
I should sleep with the lights on.
All of them.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to this.
I actually love horror movies, and I love horror movies, but I also love horror books, so.
Did you not hear me scream with those horror movies that one time?
I heard you scream.
All right, so our next book is called Lineage. Lineage is by Joe Hart. I've never read anything by him before, so this will be kind of a new experience if we choose this one. And thank you for being my book holder, Chris. Appreciate it. All right, description. A life filled with anguish, pain, horror, fear. These are the things that best-selling novelist Lance Metzger's life had been comprised of. His childhood remains a riddled wasteland of abuse by a sadistic father and the abandonment of an apathetic mother. In turn, his only refuge became his writing. When Lance loses his ability to write and becomes haunted by a nightmare that he thought was buried, he is drawn inexplicably to a house on the shores of Lake Superior where he finds his muse once again, but something is waiting for him when he arrives. Now he must unlock the devastating secrets of the household and uncover the mystery of his own broken past before he loses his sanity and perhaps his soul.
That sounds good.
That kind of gave me chills reading it.
Superior.
Is a lunatic.
So this is like, what's this? A supernatural thriller.
Yeah.
Yep, so it's kind of got your kind of ghosty feeling to it, but it's a lot of his past, so kind of more maybe drama, a little bit there too, which is cool. And our last one is called Gretel. This one looked really cool, so I had to put it in the list. It is by Christopher Coleman. Oh, also guys,
actually exist. Do these guys actually exist?
Every one of these books is rated a 4.5 out of 5 stars or above. So each one of these was rated extremely well. So I'm expecting them all to be really good. All right, so description. Alone, frightened, captive. If you hear someone approaching, run. She is not there to help you. There is an ancient evil in the backcountry, dormant for centuries, but now hungry and lurking. When it sets its sights on an unsuspecting mother one routine morning along an isolated stretch of highway, a quiet farming family is suddenly thrust into a world of unspeakable terror, and a young girl must learn to be a hero. That's basically it. What are you doing, Megan?
Held for the no on that.
Oh.
That was great.
She's shaking her head furiously.
That's what that was. You look like
Do you live in the backcountry? Is that why?
Are you scared, Megan? Megan, are you scared?
Yes, I am.
So they're not real, Megan. I'm scared as well.
Yep.
I'm scared.
That one's kind of rather. I know his books are heavy.
My arm, I'm twisting my wrist like this. It's like,
keep all your lights on,
Megan.
all your lights.
All right,
So for real.
None of these are really lengthy. They're kind of your normal novel length.
Normal?
So they're all
That doesn't sound normal to me.
Yeah, those
That sounds normal to me.
terrifying.
Star Child,
Normal.
Star Child, will you tell me how scared you get when you're reading them? Can you send me messages on Discord and be like, I'm flipping terrified right now?
Normal.
Yes, I will do that.
Yes. We can hear him reading
I will read it and have to close my eyes while I'm reading it so I can't see what I'm reading.
I would pay Vivian to read this. What do you guys think?
Please don't say normal, because they're so unnormal.
Make it an event.
I watch.
As scared as Vivian is how scared as I am.
Yes.
I'm
Me too. But I like paranormal movies, but there's too many jumpy, so I watch it with my eyes closed mostly.
Well, you can prepare for the jump in slow motion with the books.
So that's why I'm gonna read it with my eyes closed. I'm like, oh crap.
Hey, but Shannon, that was a real good rundown of those books.
What page are you on? I don't know. I haven't opened my eyes.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Very torn.
Really was.
So why don't you guys take a couple minutes, look at the covers, because even though we don't judge book by cover, we totally judge a book by its cover. At least I do. I don't know about you guys. But take a look at the books. Take a couple minutes to figure out what one you may want to read. And then those of you with hands, get ready to grab the book you're going to vote for. Those without hands, just get ready to use some emojis so we can go ahead and get our votes in. And I'll give you guys like 2 to 3 minutes here to decide.
Well, it's
Not
nice
Gretel.
because
I will pick one that I'm too scared to read. I'm
You're
afraid to be
horrible.
afraid, but I'm gonna get it.
Well, lineage
Star
sounds
Child,
great
we'll just
'cause
have
it's like
Tala read it to
near my
us.
hometown here.
yes, now that would be awesome.
We'll sit there like this, and she just reads it to
I
You
us.
know what? I'm not
What our eyes-
liking you right now, Brian.
Hey, seriously, I read
miles away from
maybe
you.
I
next
watch
time.
movies with
I
my
don't read.
eyes closed. Like I'm watching the Mist series right now.
You
I can't
mean
even
you
watch the
hear a lot
freaking
of scary
series.
movies?
Yeah,
You hear a
exactly.
lot of scary movies.
I can't deal with those
So while you guys
things.
are deciding, let me know what you think. Do you want to maybe have me set up one event in between each book club? Because remember, we're doing half the book and then the other half. So we're going to discuss half in 2 weeks and then the other half 2 weeks after that. But would you find it worth your time if I were to take a couple chapters and schedule a half-hour-long event and just do some reading to you guys?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I'd be
I
down
can actually
for
close
that.
my eyes and ears then. That'd be
And then my
awesome.
voice is kind of,
Hey, I just
So I
like
can
talking
do-
about the books, as you can probably tell.
which I appreciate. Thank you.
I don't have many.
That's so
I don't have
cool.
many people who like avid readers that I work with. So like, you guys are my people.
Brother.
So if you guys want, I can just schedule like a quick, like we'll just go into like a small room. Maybe we'll sit in the living room at the firework house or, something, and we'll just do like
do it in the graveyard.
you know what?
Oh, that
You're onto
scary-
something there.
Oh no.
Maybe we could go. Why don't we go? Why don't we go read it on the bridge? Have you guys been on the bridge? Have you heard the sounds on the bridge? The screaming, the moaning, the growling,
Oh heck
the
no.
I'm
laughing.
glad I don't hear those.
We can go read it on the bridge, and then I'll be reading, and people start screaming.
I'm glitching out.
I'm looking at Jack Kilbone. I mean, my name's Jack. I'm Jack Kilbone. I mean, do you know what I mean?
He's
Oh,
can't.
heck no, I'm out of here, dude.
Can't be that bad, huh, Jack?
I'm glitching.
Can't be that bad, Jack. I've chose Jack Kilbone.
Allspace.
So, I mean, do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
We stick together.
Look
Please
at
help
the
me.
time, man. It's just time.
I'm gonna
for
go
me.
You
to
don't-
something, but
No, you don't leave me.
Help me out.
Count this
Don't
one?
leave me
Okay.
alone with all these
Thanks, Chris.
people
It's
that
scary,
like
girl. I'm
scary
scared.
stuff.
I'm scared.
All right, guys. So I want everybody to participate in selecting our book. I'm giving you guys the whole month. I'll do some readings to you guys. We'll meet up halfway through and see how much everybody's freaking out. And we'll go from there. So everybody come on over and get ready to grab your book.
Is this the Harry Potter
Everybody.
book club meeting?
Yes.
Yeah. Am I late? Am I late? Seriously.
Hello.
Man, all these are too scary for me.
Come on, guys in the back. Guys in the back, come grab a book. Come on.
How long
grab a
do we
book.
have the book? Do we have it for 30 days? Do we have the book for infinity?
With Kindle Unlimited,
Avada
you get the books for 30 days, so you've got the whole month.
Grabbed it for me.
Alright,
Yes.
okay.
So nice.
So any book
how do you
30
do
days we
that
can
then?
read.
I have.
Around.
Try check it out from the library.
Star Child, come select your book.
How much is the monthly? Okay.
Easy,
I'm trying to
guys.
figure out.
Select your book. 30
Eric, come
days
select a
read.
book. Oh wait, you don't have hands, you'll do emojis.
So, which one is the
Easy.
less scariest?
I have a book in front of
They
me.
all sound
Hey,
kind of
hey,
creepy.
The less serious is Jack
That
Kilbone,
one.
that's
Star
me.
Child.
You want to read
Jack
it?
Kilbone, it's me, dude.
I can't even remember what the
Are you
description
gonna read it
was.
to
Whichever
me?
one had the
Is that
shortest
the-
description is the one I
Dude.
want. The one that had
Dude,
the
Is that the
shortest.
lineage
What?
I read better than I do, though.
So,
Turn it
The
around.
less
My
scary.
accent if I read.
here, I'll let you. Can you read it?
What?
Fuck you,
What?
I
okay.
can't turn my
You'll have
hands
to
and
do
read
with
it.
my
Like,
accent if I
hands.
read.
Why don't they let you
Yeah,
grab
that
it
one.
That's
another
okay.
way so
Yeah,
you
that
can read the
one.
back? I gotta twist my hands kind of weird. I can't. Hold on.
All right, guys, we're gonna start over here, the opposite of the way that I read them, and we're gonna
Yeah,
start
Jack
with
Kilbone.
Gretel. So anyone who chose Gretel, raise your books up in the air, and if you don't have hands, show me some emojis. We got
I
1,
got
2,
right there.
3, 4.
Matt.
I got 4. All right.
Don't check it out on me now, Star Child.
No, wait, 5 and 6. We got 6 for Gretel. All right, perfect.
How many have we got in the room first?
All right. Lineage by Joe Hart. If you're choosing Lineage, put up your hands or throw up your book. We've got 1.
Oh,
choose this one. Choose this
one. Star Child, hold your book up.
Yeah.
2.
Okay. Yes.
No, Vivi, you do not want that one. That's the scariest one.
Which one's the best one? That's the best one, Megan.
Hansel and Gretel.
How dare you, Paula?
Hansel and Gretel.
I want you to pee your pants reading it.
Your hair.
All right.
No.
We've got The Haunting of Ashburn House. Put your books or emojis up for The Haunting of Ashburn House.
Ginger.
Got
There's a
1.
lot of people not voting.
Come on, guys.
That book sounds like the movie.
This is a democracy. Okay.
Ginger hair all your life.
And last but not least, Jack Kilborn's Afraid. Hold up Afraid if that's the one you want.
Jack, guys, Jack. This is Jack.
1, 2. Uh-oh. Sorry, Megan.
Okay.
Good.
There's a lot of people not voting. Come on, people.
He's gonna read it to us.
Anybody want to get in a last-minute vote?
That's the best one right there.
Get on there.
That one.
Just fall straight through it.
She's looking at him like, are you?
All right, guys. Looks like we've made our decision. We are going to be reading. Oh, my hands.
My hands.
There we go. We're reading Gretel.
Come on,
which is
Vivian.
kind of what I was hoping we'd be reading.
I'm gonna be kissing my pants.
I was silently rooting for this one. The scarier, the better.
Man, that is horrifying, dude.
Megan, can read it?
The only thing brown in the
I mean, there might be.
The only thing brown in the wood is trees. I don't mess with
It's Jack Kilbone. It's Jack Kilbone, guys.
So I'm really excited, guys, because this is the one I was silently rooting for to win, because I also feel this one's the scariest one, and I really wanted to be freaked out because it's Halloween. I'm gonna totally read on Halloween too. Vivian, but it's just a pretty forest on the cover.
No, I went out there. I did not like. What's that laugh? What's that?
Oh God, who is that guy with the camera? Oh,
not funny. I just did an hour of this thinking games. I'm out of here.
See, she took off.
Nobody else.
Because your car is up against the tree out there.
Oh man, you crazy.
Tell me more.
All right, guys. So before we leave for the night, I want to thank Ben, as usual, for the beautiful work on the book. So everybody, show some emojis for Ben. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate you.
Ben, yes, looking good, buddy.
I also want to thank Sad Gamer Dad for doing our stream tonight. So let's show some emojis for Sad Gamer Dad.
Yay,
Good job, buddy.
Don't cross.
And then Brian, Matt, and Sad Gamer Dad, I appreciate you guys' discussion and comments on the book. Thank you so much for being so active in the discussion. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And keep on the lookout then for, thank you.
And thank Vivian for being a mod.
I want to thank Vivian for showing up in the last 5 minutes and then running away scared. Yes!
Hey!
I'll post like a half-hour read. I'll go do maybe a couple chapters for you guys. I'll read them. Perhaps in the graveyard, perhaps on the bridge, wherever I feel is going to be more scary at the time. So I'll post in advance what chapters they're going to be, so that way you can read up until those chapters, and then wait to do those chapters for when I read. In 2 weeks we'll do half, so read halfway. I don't know what the page number is, but I'll put it in the event description so you can stop after a specific page number, which I'll make sure is at least the end of a chapter. And then we'll come back, we'll do a discussion on half the book, and then I'll do one more read between the next meetup and the one after that. Anybody have any questions, concerns, anything else?
Yes, why are you so awesome?
Because I was born that way.
Can we read your book? One of these?
My book's not quite published yet, so it doesn't have a cover. I can't put books without covers.
It doesn't need a cover.
Is that the rule? Really? I bet we can make an exception.
Can we read romance next month?
Can we read romance? I can probably throw some romance novels in there. Maybe some friend. Nah, okay. But I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but really super sappy romance and like only. So we might have to. I might be a little selective on the romance, Vivian. Sorry.
Nicholas. No romance.
Murder romance.
Yeah, murder romance.
Ooh. Supernatural romance.
Twisted fox, I swear.
I mean, this wouldn't be the first time I've heard that, Megan. That's okay.
Yes.
That's Vivian's story.
How the hell do you get on that
Wasn't it
wall without
Rosemary's
committing
Baby?
suicide?
All right, so thanks everyone again for coming. I really appreciate it. You guys, if you've never been in this space before, it's really, really cool. If you go down the pathway on the bridge and hang out there for a while, you'll hear some laughs and some growls and some creepy noises. There's a crashed car. See if you can figure out the riddle on the license plate, because I didn't know it until Shrintak told me.
I didn't know there was a riddle even.
Yes, on the license plate. See if you can figure out the riddle. And again, I'll see you guys all then in a couple of weeks.
She's so scary.
You're awesome.
Thank you.
I'm gonna resend you a friend request.
Yeah, I'll send you another Facebook one if you ever accept it.
Oh, I'm awful with that. So I am.
Sent that like 2 weeks ago, but that's alright.
Come out and play. Come out and play.
I don't know if I like your version of playing, Vivian.
It's probably like on the other side of this wall.
All right, and
Shannon,
Don't step on my grave.
we need a bonus footage tour of this creepy world.
Was he super awesome?
He was so cool.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
All right, thank you everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed the Community Book Club with your host Shannon.
Dude, it's Kevin
For the Hive Network, I am Sad Gamer
Buy
Dad.
another copy of his,
We'll see you guys at the next book club
the
meeting.
Audible and the hardcover.
See, I only have the Kindle
If
version of his book, so I would have had to
you
buy one.
dare.
Find one.
I had already got the Audible, and I tried to listen to it, and then when you walk in the store, and you're like, well, I have to buy one. The guy's gonna, what's he gonna sign my book?
Yeah.
You okay?
Hey, Shannon.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Good, how are you doing?
Pretty good. I wasn't even talking to you. Oh my gosh, she's totally
Yeah, I know, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I knew you'd be jelly when I got that picture. I'm like, I'm gonna send this to Shannon.
Yeah,
You
totally.
heard about the thing that I messaged you
Oh yeah,
about?
no, are you reading Plague of Giants?
Even though my headset was down, I still had my headphones on.
I'm gonna wait because I'm gonna try to finish this first, Gretel, and then I'll probably start it after that. Since we've got a month and I read fairly fast, I'll probably finish Gretel.
Yeah, since I do most of my stuff on Audible these days, I only have like it took me